Hello, one and all. Today we're going to be talking about the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Now, if you're just now hearing about it, it's the second movie to come out with Illumination and Nintendo Pictures. So it's not going to make a lot of sense if you haven't seen the first one, although I will say that both kind of function as their own self-contained narratives. So you don't necessarily need to watch the first one to understand everything that goes on in the second one, but still, I think that you should. Obviously, it's a series, so. And so now we're just going to be talking about whether or not it is refined or swine. Right, so with a swine, you put food in front of them, they're gonna eat it. It doesn't matter what it is, they're just gonna, mindlessly and thoughtlessly eat it. That's why today we're gonna ask the question whether or not this movie was something that you're gonna leave from either the theater or watching it on streaming services, and you're gonna say, well, did this movie actually leave an impact on me? Not just an impact, but is it actually a good movie? I think at the start of this video, I wanna actually ask both of us what we thought about this movie in terms of, did we think it was good or did we think that it wasn't that great?
I thought it was okay. I personally, I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know. It was kind of forgettable, honestly. I don't know if I like it more than the first movie, but what do you think?
I think this movie, in comparison to the last one, I mean, obviously, I think the last one, I don't really think that I like the last one nearly as much. I think that if we're talking about video game movies that I think I like, or I at least prefer over Mario, at least what the first Mario movie was probably the Sonic movies, right? Sonic 3, I think that was a pretty good movie, but I think when the Mario movie came out, it's not like it's a bad movie. I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot to be desired with that movie. And I think that first off, another problem I have with that movie is it sets up the idea that Mario is from basically I assume it's New York, right? And I don't know how to feel about that. That's a bit weird. And then they try to introduce this family drama into the narrative with Mario and Luigi and his family, they're trying to ground it in some reality, but then they kind of just abandon those elements in the second movie. There's no the first movie, they just establish, oh, okay, his family, they don't see that their dream, because it's literally a pipe dream, I guess. And, they don't really value them, or they don't really, they just kind of see them as because, they're, you know what I mean? I think that the fact that gets abandoned in this movie for me is a little weird, right? Because in the first movie, they set up this whole idea, okay, this is an isekai. We're going to another world. But then in the next movie, there's literally zero inclusion of Mario, returning to his family in New York. The only thing that we really see of the outside world in this movie. It never brings up Mario's family or Luigi's family or anything like that. So I think it's just a little weird for me. But then what's the point of even including that? There's
because
no point.
It's the origin story.
Yeah, but there's no point. There's literally no point of that being in the movie. If they were just gonna abandon it in the second movie, there was no point of introducing it in the first, because it just had no relevance.
Well, I think that makes it better because it feels less like an Illumination movie. If it's focused on just the Mushroom Kingdom and the other worlds. It's not grounded in reality. But
I think that I guess my point is, my point of bringing this up is I don't think it should have been grounded in reality in the first place. I think that was a severe mistake from the get-go, because I think that there's no point, again, like I said, there's no point in introducing this whole thing with Mario's family in the first movie if it never is brought back up again, and just for the sake of, oh, this is how the Mario Brothers become the Mario Brothers. It's just, to me, it feels a bit hollow, and that it would probably be way better if the narrative of the Mario Brothers was contained within the world that they go to. There wasn't any other real life equivalent, essentially, for them to travel back from, or whatever. I don't know, it's a little weird, but I guess that's one of my problems with this movie, is that it literally tries to pretend the first movie didn't happen in some ways. And then, or no, it doesn't start off in the Mushroom Kingdom. It starts off with Rosalina, and Rosalina is reading a bedtime story to all of these Lumas, and then she gets captured by Bowser Jr., which, by the way, we didn't even know who Bowser, there's literally no context with how Bowser Jr. got into the picture. The movie does not tell you that, besides just saying that he went to boarding school or something like that, and that he's now out, he's not going to school anymore, I guess. But like there's zero mention, like I understand like, but like they should have at least set that up. Do you think that they should have at least set that up with the last movie?
Yeah.
Because like Bowser Jr. coming out of nowhere and him having no explanation as to what he was doing, like we don't even like for other characters, like for but it's just still weird that this random character comes out of nowhere. You don't know anything about them. And then I guess Mario fans know about Bowser Jr., but like if we're talking about like an audience, like people don't know who this is. You know what I mean? Like just people that have never like played Mario games extensively, not gonna know who Bowser Jr. is. So it's just to me a bit confusing that he just kind of appears out of nowhere. Also the paintbrush is never elaborated on whatsoever, and the technology behind it, it's just in the world. Isn't that just like strange? Like they never mention it, they never give it any clarity or any detail of like why he has it, how he has it, and how it's even able to make things like drawings become like real life. Like it never explains that whatsoever. So I guess one of the questions I should ask, since we're talking about things that are being lifted from the games and put into this movie, how well do you think that this movie did at adapting the source material? The thing that kind of put me off a little bit is that its relevance to Mario Galaxy, at least the first game, seems a bit nebulous because it seems like it's combining both the first game and the second game as like a single movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's not necessarily a good thing because then it kind of makes it a bit, because those are two separate, if we really think about it, those are two separate games with two separate stories, with two separate identities. So it's weird to combine them and then just say, oh, well, they're the same exact thing, because they're not the same exact thing. They're different games. And so I just felt that was a little bit weird about this movie, is that it kind of felt like it didn't really have a strong link to like Mario Galaxy 1 in particular, because I thought that that's what they were going to go with it. It's just make it based on the first game. But it's just weird because like the first game to me felt like way more impactful story-wise, and something that I could see you adapt into a story. But then if they're kind of introducing things from the second game, it's just, to me, I find that a little bit strange.
Well, the issue is they didn't really adapt the story in this movie that much. And of course, they changed it to make it connect to Peach as a character, which...
But I think the problem I had with this movie in particular is that they completely cut out the story of Rosalina in the movie. Completely cut out her story of being, you know, I guess I forgot I think her mom dies, right, or something like that, or something to do with her mom, and then she's left alone, and then she's left with a Luma and stuff like that. But I think like in the original game there was like a lot more, to me, emotional depth in that story, and so it's a shame that they cut that out just so that it can relate to Peach.
Yeah.
Like to me that's a little like, I think that there's a lot of, like I said, emotional resonance in that story from the original game, and I think that should have been preserved and that should have been kept within the movie. It's not done right.
Really, it's not?
No.
I just felt like the sister thing kind of felt like Disney to me. Like,
oh yeah,
is this
like
just a weird trend now? Like,
I guess not. But yeah, like I instantly, like when I saw that scene at the end of the movie where she touches her hand or whatever, I thought instantly of like Disney, like Frozen, and I feel like they watched maybe Disney movies and they're like, okay, let's do that, but just in Mario. So I don't know. I just felt that was a bit of a weird writing thing.
I think it's because this series kind of has like a big theme around family because it's, you know, the Mario brothers. So. And of course, they had the arc with Bowser and his son, so they wanted to tie that to like a family theme.
There was like, in this movie, there was like a lot of like this family reunion, but I think it wasn't really Mario and Luigi. It was more of like Bowser Jr., Bowser, and Rosalina and Peach. So there's like this whole idea of like, okay, there's a family reunion going on.
I felt like that Mario and Luigi had like no character in this movie. Like, they were just the B plot. Well,
I think Mario did have a bit of character development because like the start of the movie, he doesn't trust Bowser, and that's part of his character, right? And then he as the movie goes on, he learns like over time that he doesn't see Bowser as just a villain, and he's able to see him as something more than just a villain. So I really like that plot.
I didn't get that at all.
That's what I got, right, from this movie, is that he learns to see Bowser as not just a villain, but as a person, right? And I like that progression. Well, the thing that's weird about it is that I feel like Peach wasn't even that much of a focus in this movie. I mean, yeah, she had some moments like at the casino where she was, you know, fighting that Toad dude. I don't know. I forgot what Mario game he's fighting that guy in the casino that has, he's like a toad and he makes like bubbles from his mouth. I will say that the voice casting for that character was really good. Like I could see from the person who did the voice for that the weird toad creature thing, frog thing.
Yeah.
I could like, that was a pretty good voice casting because it fit the character almost perfectly. I could see that the character would talk like that.
Yeah.
So I guess I have to give props for voice casting in this movie. And I think Chris Pratt probably actually did a better job in this movie. Like, I honestly feel like he tried to do a better voice for him, Mario. Because Mario felt, like his voice for Mario in this movie felt a lot better than the first one.
But I definitely feel like this movie was way more comedic than the first movie. Like, it didn't have as much emotional scenes in it. I could be wrong about that.
Well, I think the emotional core of this movie was definitely between, and that was like a big thing. I feel like the more emotional core of this movie was between Bowser and Bowser Jr. Like, I feel like that was mostly, like, if I were to say anything about, you know, like the main story that, I don't know, like, I feel like a lot of emphasis was placed on Bowser and Bowser Jr. as characters, so.
Yeah. I do feel like the comedy in this movie was better than the first movie.
Also, there was the introduction of, for some reason, they decided, let's make Fox from StarFox a character that plays a main role in this movie. I mean, not like a main role, but like kind of a secondary role for the characters. I don't really understand why that was done. I mean, I understand if they added him as a cameo, sure, whatever, that's fine. But like the fact that he had any... Also, I guess what I was saying is that like, I don't understand like why I don't understand like why Fox as a character was introduced in this movie as if he was like a secondary character that the main, like, because he actually had relevance to what was going on in the plot. And I felt that was a little weird for me because it's like, well, he's not even a Mario character and we're giving him a special right for this movie.
But he's a Nintendo character.
Yeah, he's a Nintendo, but like, it's still very strange and it just felt like it was fan service, like, or sorry, to me it felt like it was fanfare, right? Fanfare. And that they were doing it just because, okay, people like Fox, let's put him in this movie. It didn't really feel like there was any reason for him to be in there, at least for me. It kind of just felt like his inclusion was kind of just happenstance, I guess. And it just didn't... No, I'm not saying like it wasn't like bad necessarily that they added him. I just think that he shouldn't have any bearing on the plot. I think that's the problem, is that he's a character that's not even a Mario character and he has bearing on a Mario movie plot. It just, to me, it doesn't really make any sense. It just feels like it's very like they just wanted to. They're like, okay, let's just do it because we want to. So actually one of the things I want to give credit to the movie about is the use of game mechanics. So a lot of the movie features a lot of game mechanics that are not only just in the consistent through the Mario series, but also in Mario Galaxy. There's a lot of times in the movie where they rely on a game mechanic. So like, for example, the first part in the movie, they have a scene where one of the stars turns into one of those like Stargate things, and then Peach uses it to travel with Toad, I believe. And so throughout this movie, that they actually rely on a lot of like using game mechanics. And I find that such an interesting idea for me. But I think specifically why I find that so interesting is it's such an interesting idea to incorporate game mechanics into a movie setting. I think like that's very interesting to me. But you can just kind of say that it's just part of the world and it's just something that exists within the world, right, itself. Like even the idea of the power-ups might be confusing, but they seem like a natural part of the world, you know what I mean? And I like that they kind of play more into it. Like, this is something that's just natural part of the world, because you see throughout the Mario universe, they have these power-up things, and they're even in the casino, right?
Also, it was kind of weird that that they didn't make it the Star Festival. It was just her birthday, and there wasn't really any explanation why the star bits were falling and all that.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, actually, no. Now that I think of it, Wait a second. That actually makes a lot of sense if you rewatch the movie. So you were going to say like, oh, why wasn't it the Star Festival? But she was born as, if you remember from the beginning, she was born from like Stardust. So it actually does kind of make sense that her birthday takes place on a day where the stars are producing those like star bit things. It's still kind of dumb though. Like I feel like it would make more sense if it's a Star Festival, because then they kind of make it all about Peach. Like, oh, it's a celebration for Peach. But when in reality, it could have just been like, okay, this is the Star Festival. Like they should have just did that. Like that would have made more sense.
That has more is more meaningful. So what did you think of the visuals of this movie, since you could see them?
I mean, the animation's pretty good on this movie. I will say it's pretty good animation. I still think it has that weird awkwardness that comes with trying to make it photorealistic. But for something that's like 3D, it's a bit again, it tries to blend both of those together. Like you could see the fabric on Mario's overalls. You could see like the fabric is so detailed. And I think that's been around since that sort of style has been around since Super Smash Brothers, I believe. So it's a bit of like PBR, which is photorealism, basically. And so I don't know why they try to blend. It just makes it look a little awkward, I guess, in some places. Trying to make Mario like realistic, but also trying to make him like a 2D character or like a cartoon character. It's a bit weird. But I mean, overall, I think the animation was really, really good in this movie. And there's a lot of like impressively looking shots that this movie had in it. So I guess like I'd say there's a lot of good animation in the movie. But obviously it still has that Illumination kind of feel to it because it is animated by Illumination. So it's going to have that weird, awkward look to it. Oh yeah, one of the things I liked visually the most was with like Bowser Jr. and like the paintbrush and his final form that he takes at the end of the movie. That was like, honestly, like, that was a really cool design. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but at the end of the movie, there was like Bowser Jr. turned into this different version of himself. He looked really cool. Like he looked really cool. Also, they make Bowser die for some reason, or not die, but like he has like this fake out death.
He's basically dead.
He's not really dead, but you know, like he basically turns into the dry bones. And I don't know, like it's not my favorite Bowser. Like I feel like that's what I thought. Like what I predicted when the movie was going to first come out, I was going to say he's going to just turn big at the end, but that's not what happened. So
yeah,
instead of turning big, which I thought, because you know he was small, right? They were kind of building that up, like where you could see like, oh well, he's small, but then he's going to turn giant at the end. You know what I mean? Like it just feels like it makes sense, right? Because he started off small at the beginning of the movie, but then he's going to become giant at the end. But then they didn't do that, so it's like a subversion. Like they didn't, like that logically makes sense, like why that would happen, but it didn't happen. So, But now going into like the actual stuff when it comes to the progression of the movie, like I said, I don't know if I said this before, but I think that the progression of the movie was very weird. I feel like there's a lot of parts where they just kept on getting set back for no reason other than it's contrived for the plot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like I was saying, I think the progression on this movie was a bit just, I don't know, like it's just very off keel, very, like it just felt like it was kind of like going in circles a bit. And just the progression just didn't feel like, it didn't feel like they were really like they were just, it felt like it was like trying to pad for time. Like to me, that's like what I will say that the time I still think was used wisely, because they still used even though the way that the movie progressed was kind of weird and irregular, I think they used the time that they had within those specific moments really well.
Yeah.
So I think the pacing was good. That's just kind of a weird thing. Like I've never really seen a movie where it's like the pacing's kind of good, but then the progression is kind of bad. It's kind of weird for me, because usually those go hand in hand. When you think of pacing and progression, they usually go hand in hand, right? If the pacing is good, then the progression's also probably going to be good. But then if the progression is bad, then it's almost guaranteed that the pacing is going to be bad, right? So it's just weird that it's like this movie is bad in a unique way where it can be bad but not bad. Like it's like, is it that messed up as a movie that it's both, it can be both, where it's disproportionate to the point where it's like, well, the pacing is good, but then the actual progression of the characters and how they're getting to point A to point B is just kind of weird and just like, I don't know.
Yoshi was the best character in this movie. You cannot tell me otherwise.
He didn't really have, like, again, he still didn't really have much. Like, he was kind of there as kind of just this, I guess, maybe relief character, comic relief. But, like, he wasn't really there in the movie, had any actual role. I guess he did it. He actually did at the end. At the end of the movie, he did. But, like, for the majority of the movie, he was just kind of just there, and he just did. So, which makes me think that Yoshi was maybe a late addition to this movie. Because he didn't feel like he had much like semblance on like
this whole movie was just.
But no, I think that actually fit because, you know, it's like he was drawing something, right? Yeah. And that fit actually perfectly well. And it's interesting that what I found interesting about the ending is like, and I think that was actually kind of very, maybe I'm looking too deep into this, but when Bowser Jr., because like obviously he's like a kid, right? When he created like the dragon, right? He drew something that was such bigger than himself that he couldn't really fully comprehend. Like it was almost something, because, you know, I feel like he's a kid, right? And so when he drew that character, it ended up like kind of turning on him and trying to eat him or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's because he himself couldn't comprehend, because, you know, I think it's because like he's a kid, right? He couldn't comprehend something that was way bigger than him to even fully understand. And I really like that. Like, I know that's like, to me, it's supposed to be very, like kind of like a metaphor, right? At the end, right? I just feel like that was supposed to have some sort of meaning behind it that was not obvious to the viewer. Or at least if you watched it, you would just think, oh, this is a kid's movie. This is just, I don't need to analyze it. But I think that last part of the movie was kind of about that, you know, like Bowser Jr. is like a kid and he doesn't fully comprehend the weight or gravity of the things that he's doing, and which kind of goes back to earlier how he wants to destroy the universe, right, or the galaxy for his dad, and he doesn't really comprehend what that means or what he's doing to others, right? So I think that like that ending part where he gets kind of he finally gets confronted with that. I think that's a very interesting thing that the movie chose to do there. Maybe I'm looking too deep into this for a Mario movie, but I think that was very, very interesting that the dragon that he drew at the end ended up like turning on him, and because he just doesn't understand it.
Well, if it isn't Solarto and Lumi, this is Dr. Basketball. I'm giving my review of the Mario Galaxy. They didn't want me to join them. In fact, Lumi said, hey, if you make that bouncy doctor join us on our freaking Mario Galaxy review, I will hurt you, Solarto. And I was so offended when I heard that. And so I am instead recording my opinion of it. I love that StarFox just for some reason comes in and just hijacks the entire plot, and he's 10 times more interesting of a main character than Mario. Mario is a nothing character. He has no personality. He doesn't make any choices at all, and he's such a loser. And I hate Mario, and that's why I'm a Wario fan, because he has conviction, he has plans, he has motives, he has moves, he always knows where he's gonna go. Bowser's arc, he kept switching up every 2 seconds. He was like, I'm a good guy now I'm a bad guy. Oh wait, no, now I'm bad guy, now I'm good guy, now I'm bad guy. And he just kind of, it's like a child wrote the movie. Mario's nice to him one time, and he legitimately it likes these guys. I thought he was just playing a joke and was going to betray them, but no, he legitimately started to like them, and that was crazy writing just all across the board. And much like Mario, Peach and Rosalina are not characters either. They are more ideas than people, and it's strange because the first movie, although it has flaws, I feel like it at least was a story with characters and motivations, and Mario had an arc where his dad doesn't like him, and it's somehow Yoshi and Luigi are more characterized than Mario, Peach, Rosalina, and Bowser. You know, he has a character arc. I don't think it's well written, but he certainly does have a character arc, and that's why he's better than Mario as a character. No Donkey Kong. I'm gonna cry. I love Donkey Kong. But I did like that Birdo was there, and Wart the Frog from Mario, whatever the hell, number 2. I don't know why we went from Mario just to Mario Galaxy when it's nothing like Mario Galaxy. That was fascinating. It's more like Mario Odyssey, I guess. I don't know what the third one would be called, but are we going to go to Wario next? Are they going to be the villains? It's a little bit of a jump, because there's not really any of the good villains other than Wario and Bowser, unless you want to go into the RPG or the Paper Mario stuff, but I don't think they're going to do that. So hopefully it's Wario next, and hopefully we get a StarFox movie, because damn, that StarFox, he's a handsome guy. It was making me feel some kind of way. But yeah, needs more Wario. Very excited to see the next one at least, and it was beautifully animated, I'll say that. It was very well animated, but I felt like I was too old and I was watching children's movie, and I didn't feel like that in the first one. The first one I felt like it was on my level, although I could tell it was very, corporate, but this one was 10 times more corporate. I don't know what happened. So yeah, that's my opinion. I love you.